Hey guys, welcome back, my beautiful souls, to Raw and Cut, to another chapter. I believe we are now on chapter 3. I'm going to call this The Dreamer Behind the Dreams. So, if you are joining me, thank you. And if you are here, that means you've walked with me through chapter 2. Hopefully, you have opened that vault. You've explored the world I've built, and you've seen how the dreams themselves shaped my entire inner universe. But now, on this chapter, we're going deeper, because chapter 2 was about the messages inside the dreams. Chapter 3 is more about the messenger. Let's say the girl behind the worlds, the mind behind the characters, the heart behind the fantasy, the soul behind the survival. This is where we explore why I dreamed the way I did, why the themes stayed the same, why the characters evolved, why the world shifted as I grew, and why the dreams always returned when life felt too heavy to hold. This chapter isn't about escapism, it's more about identity. It's about the emotional blueprint that shaped every dream I ever had. It's about the version of me who created the entire universe just to feel safe, to feel seen, to feel powerful, or to feel loved. And this time, we're not just observing the dreams, we're observing me inside them. So let's start with section 1. Let's call this the trigger. For me personally, my dreams didn't start because I was imaginative. They started because my mother was the trigger. I was a daddy's girl, my hero, my rock, my whole world. And then one day, one moment, everything changed. I can remember on a sunny day, I broke a rule. I followed him somewhere I wasn't supposed to go. I rode my bike down a road that was out of bounds. And that's when I saw it. My father getting into a car with another woman, blonde, blue eyes, kissing her. So, I didn't understand the weight of what I've just witnessed. So I decided to hurry home and told my mum, not knowing that a single moment would split our family in half. Our family dream home got taken away from us because he failed to pay the mortgage. And he always knew this day what was coming. And he knew one day we were going out for lunch with my aunties. And he watched and waited until we left the house. To return home, our whole entire house was emptied. He left a bed frame and a wedding album. It's mad. To this day, if I discuss this or even bring it up, it never happened in my father's eyes. Never happened. It was always my mother's fault, and always has been my mother's fault. He never emptied the house. You never caught me kissing another woman. No, it was never. He would never ever admit that. So we ended up in the YMCA, starting over, and for me, that's where the panic attack started. I remember my very first one. I was sat in this strange room. I think it was the probably call it the second day, maybe third day in the YMCA. And I was just sat in a strange room and just looking at this box room with three beds in it, barely the essentials. I was looking around thinking to myself, flipping how did we come from that to this? And I remember I was so hard on myself back then. I was looking around thinking, how could I have done this? I should have kept my mouth shut. How did we ended up here? It's all my fault. My chest was literally pounding. My heart was racing. I couldn't breathe. It felt like something was just strangling me. But the words were so loud in my head. It's like, what have I done? What have I done? And I was in a full-blown panic attack. And remember, this lady came rushing in to assist me with, back in those days, it was a brown paper bag. So I was breathing into this brown paper bag, and she was telling me to slow my breath while I was counting my breaths down to bring me back down to, obviously, more grounded. And after that, she brought me down probably 10, 15 minutes. I was numb. I was completely numb. My whole body was tingling. So obviously, we started again. But unfortunately for me, nothing felt like home anymore. I love my mum. I love my mum more, now more. I class her as one of my best friends. But I wasn't close to her back then. And I was more closer to my father more than anything. And becoming away from my dad and being more obviously in care of my mum, I would say my eyes kind of opened up more. And it was very, very clear. I was living in a house where my brother was the favorite, the center, the son that everything revolved around. And my mum was very young when she settled down. She was very young. She was very young when she had me. And I believe my dad was her first true love. And from this, she was heartbroken. She was really extremely heartbroken. And she turned to drink. And there'd be some days she wouldn't return home early hours in the morning and kind of left me to take care of my brother, or should I say, take care of each other. The more she drank, the more she changed. The shouting, the mood swings, the verbal attacks. And for me, the worst thing, the silence. The silence that felt like punishment. The walking on eggshells. And I think that's what it started for me to live, the people pleasing. Trying to say the right thing, be the right thing, do the right thing, just to feel noticed, just to make everything right feel the room right, or something, change the atmosphere, sort of thing. And I blamed her. I blamed her for losing him, my dad, for losing our family, for losing the version of me that existed before pretty much everything fell apart. And I believe I was such in a dark place, and that's when the shadows came. I remember lying on bed during, again, another full panic attack, and my chest was tight, my breath was completely gone, my body shaking, and I remember clear as day, a shadow just leaned over me, just watching down. Nothing more, just watching, not moving, not threatening, just there. And the strangest part, I didn't even freak out. I did not even scream. Yeah, I didn't. I couldn't. It was just, I just stared back at it, and because in that moment, and for me personally, anything felt better than the pain I was in. So the shadows became a part of my life, part of my daily life. My whole life flipped. I went from a fun, energetic, singing, dancing, thriving child to a girl who had a stutter, who got bullied, who was put down a class, who lost her confidence, and pretty much now I lived in the darkness. My love and compassion for music became my tool for, I would say, for a different creative tool. And I can remember the first time I put those headphones on, I pressed them so tight against my ears just to drown the chaos happening outside my bedroom door. And without realizing it, I escaped. I slipped into the world that felt safer than the one I was living in. A world where I could breathe. A world where I wasn't alone. A world where I could be anyone, feel anything, create anything. I didn't know it then, but that moment would shape the rest of my life. That was the birth of the dreams, the beginning of the worlds. So let's say section 2, the first dream. I remember my first dream. The moment I pressed those headphones tight against my ears, it was like something inside of me snapped open, or should I say snapped away. Like I was zapped out of my body and dropped into another world entirely. Suddenly I was on stage. Not a small one, a huge, massive arena thousands of people surrounding me, calling my name, cheering me on, waiting for me to sing, to dance, just to perform. And for the first time in my life, I felt chosen. I felt seen. I felt loved. My curls was longer, golden, glowing under the light. I was wearing this fierce all-in-one outfit, a deep, rich color with a golden belt wrapped around my waist, my initials shining across. It was like a badge of honor. I was blinged up, confident, powerful, everything I didn't feel in the real life. And I performed. I performed for 3 hours straight, a full concert in my mind. I changed tracks. I created choreography. I switched characters. I built entire scenes. I danced like the world was mine. And the truth is, I didn't want it to end. I just didn't want to. I remember my mum was calling me and calling me for tea time. I was out of it. That's how I snapped out of it, and I didn't realize I was sat there for 3 hours. Because that world, that version of me, it felt safer than the life I was living. It felt like home in a way my real home didn't anymore. And that was the moment the dreams began. Not as a fantasy, not as entertainment, but as I come to understand it, it was more as a survival. That stage became my escape, my sanctuary, my secret world where I could breathe again. And I didn't know it then, but that dream would become the blueprint for every world I built after. The story changed, the scenes changed, the world changed, but the main character, she never did. So let's say section 3, the message hidden in every dream. She was always the same woman, the woman I dreamed of becoming because she was everything I didn't have. She was a famous singer, a songwriter, a performer. The whole world absolutely adored her. Her voice wasn't just talent, it was a message, a frequency of love, empathy, and truth. She built multiple successful businesses across the world, self-made, a billionaire, financially secure. Money was never an issue for her because in my dreams, stability was finally safe. She was loved, not for her fame, not for her beauty, not for her success, but for her kindness, for her empathy, her heart. She gave back to her community. She supported local businesses. She lifted up people. She was the woman who healed others because no one ever healed her. She had a big, loving family, supportive, warm, connected, the kind of family I never got to experience in real life. She had friendships that were so loyal, like the ride or die. I love that phrase. That's every relationship. I want a ride or die relationship, deep rooted, the kind where you grow together and hold each other through everything. And then there was him, her partner, her equal, her mirror, more successful than her, more powerful than her, but her biggest supporter, devoted, loyal, protective. Treasure her like gold energy, the yin and the yang, ride or die, bad boys for life. A love that felt like home. So, do you see it? Every dream was built from the same wound, the same longing, the same ache. Everything she had in those worlds was everything I was lacking in real life. Because in reality, I was, from a very, very young age, I witnessed some horrible stuff. I seen the single mum struggling. Like I said, this is not my trauma. It wasn't, the YMC was just the start. We ended up in women's aid and domestic violence. I've seen it all. So there were days where we had no electric. There were days where we had no heating, no food in the house, no support, no safety, no love, no stability. So in my mind, I built it. My dreams created it. My imagination gave me the life I didn't have. because my reality was too painful to survive without an escape, basically. The dreams weren't random. They were messages. They were needs. They were truths I couldn't speak as yet. They were the blueprint of everything I was missing. So, join me as we open the vault, the one that reveals the patterns, the emotion codes, the truth about the girl who dreamed herself into survivor and is now dreaming herself into becoming. This is where the story shifts. This is where the dreamer steps forward. This is where we stop analyzing the worlds I built and start understanding the woman who built them. So, I shall see you in chapter 4, my beautiful souls, where the dreams end and the becoming begins. And I thank you so much for all your love and support. And obviously, I will welcome you to the vault. I will gladly see you at the vault. But in the meantime, remember, I am what I am. I am enough. Yes, you all are beautiful. And I am Nikki, your sovereign architect. Thank you so much for joining me.